I want you to be able to hit your button.
Doc, how you doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you speak clearly in the mic for us tonight so we can pick everything up.
Ms. Oaks, you ready? Yes, sir. Steve, you ready? All right, I call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for the city of Natchitoches. The full audio of this is available on www.cityofnatchitochesla.gov. The next city council meeting is July 12th, 2021, the second Monday. Council chambers is right here, and there are no applications for rezoning, so that's not particularly relevant. So any waivers or variances are subject to an appeal from any application made today. They must be filed in writing, addressed to the mayor's office and the city council within 10 days of tonight's decision. I'd ask all attendees, if they didn't sign in, to please sign in. I'd ask speakers to identify themselves and to speak clearly. The procedure will go on tonight, as we do every night, is we hear from the applicant and the persons in favor of the application. Then we'll hear from persons opposed to the application, and then we'll hear a brief rebuttal from a single designee by the applicant to issues raised in opposition. The next Planning Commission meeting is Tuesday, August the 3rd, 2021. I'll tell you this right now, Ms. Oaks, you will need to have a alternate chairman for that night. If we need to take care of that at the end, that is my 36th wedding anniversary, and I will be out of town.
And what date for August 3rd?
August 3, the next meeting. So if we need to take care of that tonight, or if you can do that administratively, you just let me know by the end of the meeting. We'll take care of that in office activities.
Okay,
All right? I didn't realize that, and I'm sorry to jump that up on you
that's
tonight.
okay.
Roman numeral 1, call to order and comments. We've already made that. Roll call, Ms. Oaks.
Bobby Claiborne,
Here.
Anita Du Bois, Michael Lewis,
Here.
Ethel Blake, Jamie Flanagan,
Here.
Ron Brown,
Here.
Isaac Lewis,
Here.
Ricky McAllister, Charles Whitehead III.
Present. All right, by my count, that's a quorum.
Yes, sir.
Roman numeral 3, approval of the minutes of the June 1, 2021 meeting. Recordings of all city meeting videos are now posted to the city's website. To watch the video, the user can subscribe to the city's YouTube channel at City of Natchitoches, LA, or visit the city's website, www.natchitochesla.gov/content/meeting-videos. If there are any corrections, additions, or deletions to the proposed minutes by the director, I would entertain motions to correct them. If not, I'd entertain a motion to waive the formal reading and accept the minutes as provided.
I so move.
Second.
So, moved by Mr. Lewis to my left and Mr. Lewis by my right. Any other items under Roman numeral 3?
Not at this time.
Roman numeral 4, subsection A, the city council approved the application by Mr. Clay Mayu Enterprises, Inc., DBA Mayu Steak and Seafood to rezone the following location: a lot on the northwest corner of Front Street and Two-Line, 194.9 feet front of Front Street by 162 feet from B3 to commercial to B3 commercial with the additional BA zoning for alcohol consumption on premises. Any other old business?
No, sir.
Roman numeral 4, the application by JRT Investments to request a variance at the following location: lots 1B and 1C of Block G of Parkway Estates, units number 2, less 0.023 acres to the Highway Department. The variance request is a variance of 22 feet of the required 25 feet rear yard setback to repair roof canopy, bearing municipal address of 319 South Drive, exhibit number 1, councilperson district number 2. As the applicant or his designee comes forward, would the director state if we had any oppositions filed in writing or any letters filed in support or opposition?
We did have a letter of opposition that was written from Dr. William Lester. I do have a letter, if you would like for me to read that statement that he has.
I would.
Mr. William Lester, I'm the resident of 313 Parkway Drive with my side bordering the rear of Natchitoches Power Sports at 319 South Drive. For some time, they had a large metal shed abutting my property, which was a nuisance and a point of contention between the prior owners of my residence, Thomas and Maxine Sutherland, and the Natchitoches Power Sports Hunter Village. This shed partially collapsed during the February 2021 winter storm and was demolished shortly thereafter. A few weeks ago, I noticed large steel beams being welded together over the fence between properties. Progress seemed rapid. I had no prior indication that the shed would be rebuilt. I called the manager of the Natchitoches Power Sports to ask what was going on and if he had taken a permit. He said he did not need one because he is only repairing it just like it always was. He then said that it would be improved for water control and that it would be smaller, i.e. not the same. Meanwhile, welders had their feet over the fence between us. I asked him to consult with the city to be sure he didn't need a permit. He knew who to call at Planning and Zoning by name and seemed upset that I called him out. From his repeated statements, chosen carefully, almost scripted words, and tone in the conversation, I believe he knew that a permit was needed, but chose not to apply. I called Planning and Zoning to confirm they were aware and was told that a stop order was given. I had no further contact until receiving your notice 2 weeks ago. I learned in my conversation with you after receiving the letter that the variance applied for may actually be larger than the prior structure. I urge you to deny this variance. Municipal code is meant to protect residential neighborhoods from egregious encroachment by commercial sites. Good fence make good neighbors, so our Mortem code demands 25 feet of rear setback and a maintained privacy barrier. Natchitoches Power Sports complies with neither. Their new structural beams are several feet above the fence where they request a variance of 22 of the 25 feet in setback, indicating significant size and proximity to my property. Some building materials are actually leaning over the privacy fence above my yard as I write this letter. The old shed was a nuisance and was frankly terrifying to see collapsed. The old design is proven prone to failure, and if falling sideways instead of directly down, it could have crushed me in my garden. It directed water from the bulk of their building onto the property line, causing erosion, exaggerated as their rear parking lot is designed to do the same. The washout further undermines trees, which threatens any potential development of my property on Cane River. The shed was a source of general litter and nuisance. I've picked up countless small engine parts, oil bottles, and other trash thrown over the fence. There wasn't a sound-resistant wall to insulate my home from the small engine workshop the shed housed. Since purchasing my home, I've been told that the neighbor's Power Sports has a long history of not maintaining the privacy barrier, which led to the civil actions for what actually exists today. The barriers are not currently maintained, and some of the fence near Cane River has washed away due to runoff. The old shed contributed to, okay, let me read that again. The barriers are not currently maintained, and some of the fence near Cane River has washed away due to the runoff the old shed contributed to. What remains is not an effective physical or visual barrier except structures or the new construction. Post-performance suggests that future construction will not be well maintained. I hope that if a new shed will be allowed, some compromises and protections can be made. I hope that if it collapses again, my personal life, limb, and property will not again be threatened by its size, proximity, and poor design. I hope that water running off it will no longer wash out the bank between our properties. I hope that a proper privacy barrier will be erected and maintained to the river. I hope workshop noises are not amplified by its size and shapes towards my home like a stereo speaker. I hope to no longer pick up litter along a fence immediately abutting a small engine workshop after work. I do not have faith in Natchitoches Power Sports to address these concerns on their honor alone. I moved back to Natchitoches in 2012 because I wanted to rejoin and help improve my hometown. I opened a medical office and wound clinic, working long hours, sponsor local events, and volunteer my spare time, notably running the annual MASH Christmas Toy Drive. I've put my energy to work improving a home in Natchitoches which has sat empty for 2 years when I could buy one almost anywhere. Please do not allow one demolished, out-of-code nuisance structure to be replaced by another. We should be improving our town, not rebuilding old eyesores. Given what I'm told of Natchitoches Power Sports past, I do not believe they can be trusted to be a good neighbor. I must trust in your department to protect my home, the neighbor, and our city. Thank you for your consideration. Bill Luster.
All right. And there were no other letters or notations from your office?
No, sir,
regarding
not at
that?
all.
I will tell the commission that I looked at this and went by and physically looked at the issue that Dr. Luster was talking about, knocked on his door. He walked me through it, and I understand his concerns. They're not terribly different on a physical examination than what he put in his letter. He is indicated he's in charge of, I don't know, I think his dad's here, but he can correct me if I'm wrong, but he's in charge of that bariatric wound unit, and he cannot leave that until the last patient has come out of the wound care cone or whatever it's called. So we'll hear from the applicant at this time. JRT Investments, I guess.
Can I also say something before he
ma'am.
comes? Let me let you know, Commission, that this structure was actually a non-conforming structure. It was destroyed by a storm, but he does have the right to rebuild that structure. It is up to us to decide where or how far he's going to build it. What he's stating is that he's not taking the structure all the way to the edge of that fence line. He's actually stopping, if I'm not correct, to where the water would only drain on the curb or the carport slab. It's not going to fall on the area of the bank that we see there. But he does have the right, according to our ordinance, to rebuild that canopy, just not all the way over.
And our discussions, you and I's discussions with the city inspector indicates it's gonna be about 10 inches shorter
Correct.
than what was previously there, the previous
Correct.
non-conforming structure. All right. All right, so let's hear from
Mr. Bryan.
JRT Investments LLC or their designee.
Sure. Brian Franklin with Natchitoches Power Sports.
Please come forward, start over.
Good evening. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm Brian Franklin with Natchitoches Power Sports. If you could put the structure back that we had on the video. The old structure, if you see where the beams are up, they're off the fence quite a bit. The old structure did, when the roof drained from that structure, drained directly home to our fence, that wood fence that goes all the way down. The new structure, when we looked at it, we thought that was a problem, not even getting with our neighbors, but we knew that we had a problem with the water drain. So when we looked at redoing it, we moved the roof line back toward our building so that the water drains directly on the cement slab that's there now. The cement slab has not and is not being replaced. That's the same ground structure that was in place, but the roof structure that you see is what we're rebuilding from the ice storm. And I don't have the measurements in front of me, but we did move that roof line back for drainage reasons.
According to our inspector, it was about 10 inches back.
That sounds right. We've actually got to address the letter issue, I did not know we needed a permit. That is definitely my fault, because when we had our insurance adjuster come out, we specifically asked him, and I guess that was an opinion, and he said because of just putting a structure back in place that we wouldn't need that, so that is a fault of ours. But the main structure is at least, I would say, 10 inches back from where it was originally. And the main purpose of that is for drainage on both sides of the property line.
All right, any questions for this gentleman from the commission members?
Would it be problematic if it were moved back a little bit farther than the 10 inches?
Are you saying the structure or the roof?
The roofing part, the part where the water would run off?
I would have to look at the roof, because if you see it now, I don't know how far we can come back without having any overhang for a future gutter system.
Gotcha, okay.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Would a gutter system help improve the situation?
The gutter system, I think, may help some. Definitely when we move the structure back, it's gonna help because the water is falling on hard concrete now instead of that fence and soft material. If we move it back, I can't move it back past that beam because I won't have nowhere to mount a gutter. But even a gutter system is gonna drain, so it's gonna drain no differently than with or without that gutter system. Because when it comes off of the side, you're still going somewhere with that water.
Wait a second, you're saying the gutter system doesn't drain any different?
I'm saying that it's still gonna have a drain spot coming off of the roof.
Well, but you're saying that the current structure has no drain, is that correct? It's just coming off the roof.
It's coming off the roof line.
And so if you had and I assume that we're looking from the old Coca-Cola plant
go up
to
to
the river from this perspective?
That's right, the river, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so if you put a gutter system in there, wouldn't it all drain towards the river at the very end?
It will, but it's still, the water's gonna drain the same direction, is the only thing I'm saying.
I'm afraid
Because
I don't.
it's on the,
I'm afraid I
that
don't understand
structure,
your comment.
that structure, everything drains down toward the river.
Oh, I understand that.
Okay.
But whether it drains off and down the river or off into a gutter and then
And
it's
then down the river,
Right.
right. That's all I'm saying, it's going to the same, it's
Well,
gonna go to the same.
of course, water always finds the lowest spot, but I just didn't understand what you were talking about. Any more questions for this gentleman? All right. Is anyone else here to speak in favor of JRT Investments LLC? Hearing none, is there any opposition to the application of JRT Investments LLC?
I think they'll have photographs if the commission, I'm sorry. John Luster.
Bill Luster's dad.
Yeah, that's correct. Y'all have photographs, if you get to see each of the 4 photographs and, you know, make your decision based on his comments and Bill's comments, that's all we can ask you to do.
Thank you, Mr.
But
Luster.
I would like everybody to see all 4 photos if possible.
All right.
There's one of
Well,
them.
let's roll through those before we go next. Ms. Rock.
So is this the fence line that's back there? Yeah, that's the fence line that goes all the way back. Are you guys gonna do anything with that fence line once you finish the construction?
Not at the moment, we don't have any plans at the moment to do anything. That fence line is further back from that, a pretty good way from that structure that we're trying to get the variance for.
I do know that Mr. Luster asked that if possible, could you guys actually clean that fence line up a bit? I'm not sure what's all back there. I mean, it looks like it's pretty dense from my point of view. But just to straighten that area up a little bit for them, just to make it a little bit more presentable on their side?
Yes, ma'am. Everything on the, I guess the.
South side.
West side of that fence is concrete, but I could get somebody, if I could access his property, I could come and clean the back side of it. And that's actually on the back side of it.
Now, as I understand it, JRT Investments has 2 parcels, the old Honda Village and the old engineering firm, is that correct?
That's correct.
And the current variance is requested on the original Honda Village side, is that correct?
It should be, yes, sir.
Does everybody have that on their exhibit number 1? The southern part was the original Honda Village, and the northern piece was, I guess, what is that, y'all's repair shop or intake shop?
Yes, sir, the old building, business that you,
The engineering firm, I think it was,
that's correct.
Breedlove, Gearing, et al.,
Yes, sir.
for those of us who remember all that. All right. Anyone else in opposition to the application by JRT Investments? All right, hearing none, discussion by commission members. Bobby, what are your thoughts?
Only concern I had was the water runoff, and if there's gonna be a gutter system also put in, that would channel, the water away.
So you'd be in
From the
favor of it if they put a gutter system in?
Yeah.
I would agree, because with those gutter systems where you have the downspouts, you could put extensions on them and carry it out even further than where the spout comes down, so.
Jamie, you got any thoughts?
Well, that was why I asked the question, because I was just concerned about it impeding on the neighbor's
Mr.
property,
Justin.
messing up, his yard. So I mean, if that was included, then I would be.
Well, I'm pretty sure I could say with great certainty that Mr. Watson didn't think about any of this when he did this subdivision in 1968. Any other discussion by commission members? Is there either a motion to approve or a motion to modify the application with gutters?
Make a motion to modify it.
I'll
Motion.
second that.
Motion by Lewis, second by Mr. Claiborne to modify
With the
the
gutters.
application to approve same with gutters. And so this is only a motion to modify the application to include gutters on this new system, assuming that that's acceptable to the applicant.
Yeah, that's, yes.
All right, so we've got a motion to modify the application right now, that's all it is, not to approve, but to modify. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the like sign. All right, is there any discussion on the modified application? So do I have a motion
I
to,
make a motion to approve with the modification.
motion by Mr. Claiborne, second by Mr. Brown, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. So your application stands approved, subject to the modification that you put gutters on there going down to Cane River. And please keep in touch with Ms. Chantrell and Kendall about your project. You know, we do not enjoy being the gotcha people where you're doing work that you haven't gotten approval for. The amount of money the city gets is negligible compared to what we have to do to make sure there's appropriate planning and zoning.
Yeah, we've actually went through one or two more applications since this process.
Make sure if you're modifying your HVAC or your electrical, you go pull a permit. It may not require this board to act on it, but it certainly requires Ms. Rock's department to sign off on it. People fail to understand that, but it's to protect everybody.
Yes,
All right, thank you, sir. Roman numeral 5, new business, subsection B, the application by KSBH LLC to subdivide the following location and request a variance for Lot 6 of Block E of Blanchard Road subdivision, unit number 2. Variance of 10 feet of the required 25 feet rear setback to construct a storage facility bearing municipal address of 213 Renee Street, Councilperson District Number 2, and Exhibit Number 2 in the Commissioner's packet. If the applicant or his designee would come forward, we'll proceed with the application.
I'm Brad Ferguson. I'm representing KSBH in this matter, and Ronnie Poche, my friend, who suckered me into coming here and doing this instead of going to a car show with him. So I could be having a really good time right now, but I'm here meeting with you fellas. So it's not to actually construct a storage facility. There's already one there. They just wanted to subdivide the property, and they're only roughly 16 feet apart. So they're asking for a waiver of the 10 feet, draw the line at 15 feet. And Ronnie would like to purchase the facility to store his classic cars. And Bill would like to just own a radio station.
All right. Is anyone else to speak on behalf of the application of KSBH LLC? I'm sorry. Were there any questions for Mr. Ferguson by the commission members? Does everybody understand what's happening? The little radio station's being broken off from the storage building that's already there. And the reason they're coming before us is it doesn't have enough separation. But the structures already exist on the corner of Claudia and Renee. That's page 2 of your exhibit 2. And you can see it on page 3 in the color photo provided by the director. I don't think it really changes anything, but we don't have to like it, but.
This is just a subdivision, right?
Right.
Yes, sir.
That's correct. Discussion by commission members.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Lewis to
Second.
approve, a second by Jamie Flanagan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Thank you, John.
Final in 11 days, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, Roman number 5, subsection C, the application by Mr. Frank Taylor to request approval for a modular home placement at the following location, Lot 10, Block LA of the Breda Addition for residential home development, 1429 Stella Street, exhibit number 3, councilperson district number 4 in your packet. It's my understanding, Madam Director, that this is may be abandoned, so that what we need to do, since nobody's here, we may need to table it.
Right. Once we sent out our letters and our notifications about what was actually being placed on the property, we had several people to come forward asking questions about the tiny home development. Right now, we're actually working on an ordinance on a way to come up with rules and regulations for the actual tiny home development. With a lot of the lots being substandard lots on the west side, we're looking for a way to kind of give the residents something, livable structure to actually place on those substandard lots. With the tiny homes being introduced during Katrina time in 2016, we felt like being able to bring the tiny homes to Natchitoches would actually be a great improvement. However, we do need those regulations in place
So
first.
would it be your recommendation we table this application subject to re-notification if it's brought back up?
Correct, yes.
All right, I would entertain such motion.
I'll make it.
Motion by Mr. Brown, second by Mr. Lewis. That's a motion to table this application. However, in the event that it's brought back up, it has to be re-noticed, that it cannot be brought up by commission action only. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right, so that takes care of that. Report of office activity, Roman numeral 6. Ms. Rock, my wife wants to know when she can entice her son to come back to Whataburger. So give me a report on that office activity.
Well, they were hoping to be open by now, but they were having a hard time getting someone actually trained to be able to work there. And I saw the other day that they had a parking lot full, so I'm hoping within another week or so, we should have us an open running Whataburger.
And what about McAllister's? The next door?
McAllister's,
They got started off early and they fizzled out.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're standing, but I think they're in the same boat as Whataburger. And hopefully within the 1st of August, hopefully we'll have both of them up and running smoothly.
Well, like like you would understand, any mama wants a reason to have her son come back up here, because every time he comes back from New Orleans, he stops in Whataburger in Baton Rouge on the way up.
I passed by that day, and like you said, the parking lot was full. But I also heard say that they have a problem staffing the place with work.
Yeah, well, I
They
think
are.
that's what she was saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, that's crazy.
That's all over.
Yeah, that's
All
everywhere.
over the country.
That's crazy.
It is. I just hope people wake up before it's too late.
Right.
Well,
They will,
Yeah.
come July 31st.
Yeah, but by then, they probably won't be able to find a job then, and then what?
yeah, that's gonna be the problem. They
That's
all,
great.
you know, they're all gonna be looking for a job at the same time.
Right.
You know,
They should have been looking before.
Absolutely.
yeah, people are begging them, giving them bonuses to come down. They're not gonna get
And I
that.
see they started the work for the Starbucks. We actually received another plan, and it actually states Starbucks on it, so hopefully,
That's gonna be the one in the old,
in the whole
Artie's.
Artie's building, so we're moving right along.
Well, Ron, you missed your chance. They were offering $1,500 for strippers in New Orleans. Signing bonus. On the man, I don't know. They have a man's deal from like 3 to 4 o'clock or something like that. Any more office activities, Ms. Rock?
No, sir, not at this time.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. I have a second from Mr. Lewis. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah, but